Sitting on Steam, on its way to literally every single console out there by the end of the year, possibly earlier in the second half of the year, we've got the most anticipated pixel art style turn-based tactics semi-open world RPG in the making here, Chronicles 100 Heroes. In case you missed out on the update, we did actually get a new trailer for it a few months back and reconfirmation that the game has met all of the Kickstarter campaign goals and in great shape. Take a look.
My town. I've been mayor here for over 80 years.
Coming up behind that by the same old developers of Mutant Year Zero, is actually one of the finest turn-based post-apocalyptic RPG tactics of all time since the beginning of 2020. For those of you who missed it out here, something called Miasma Chronicles. Guys, Miasma Chronicles compared to the company's previous works is a next-generation console exclusive, way bigger in scale, to some extent a semi-open world game now, and with more fantasy elements in nature. Take a look in case you missed it.
Force threatening to rip apart our town and all of America. But there's hope on the horizon. Our fate rests in this guy's club. Elvis.
Barely survived that one.
A mechanic with big dreams of becoming a hero. If he can only get his act together. Diggs.
God damn, I'm good.
A kind of big brother to Elvis. And a badass robot.
Moving on to number 3, we have, just like its previous iteration, with 8 travelers on a tremendous adventure and on a totally new one with a whole different experience. In story, however, Octopath Traveler 2. Not just that, guys, in Octopath Traveler 2, there is new gameplay mechanics and functions to keep it fresh and engaging more than before, and the characters are each having their own path to take depending on the choices you make. Here's a trailer. The game is releasing February 24th for PCs and the Nintendo Switch.
Jesus, just like Mama.
I'm hitting the road. I'll be back once I eliminate that devil called poverty from the world.
The man who took everything from me shall die by my hand.
Not again. Not this stench. The stench of blood.
Doubt is what I do.
Leave the hunting to me. You'll have all the tasty meat you want. I need to rediscover who I am.
Explore a wide world set in a bustling era. Each traveler's path action differs between day and night.
Our Lord knows well the ways of the world.
What will happen when their paths intertwine?
What's that big round?
Let's go, Temenos.
And what adventures await?
Whether if you've been keen to Metal Slug games or not, without a doubt this is one of the most anticipated, if not the most itself, turn-based tactics game on the horizon for later this year. We've got, for those of you who missed it, Metal Slug Tactics. Currently only limited to PCs and the Nintendo Switch, the new game is in the making by the one and only .mu, just nostalgia gods. It has been in the making for 2 years already and set to be coming out at the worst case scenario by the end of the year. Moving on to number 5, actually first time getting a mention here, we have Headquarters World War II, a fast-paced, turn-based strategy RPG. We don't really get that mix a lot about in the old Koei Tecmo's Nobunaga Ambitions games maybe. Coming from the same publishers of the most new Warhammer games, this is a PC and past generation console game about World War II where you're able to experience the artillery of any war front in World War II with some highly detailed battles. Check it out in case you missed it.
The first time you get knocked off your feet, it's hard. Bloody hard to get back up.
Coming up behind that at number 6, quick mention of it with this one, I have no background of it whatsoever, but we have from a tad over a year ago something here called Broken Roads, actually coming over to every single console, even Switch, and touted as a narrative-driven RPG exploration, turn-based tactics, technically everything. It's actually a little like the previous game Headquarters, but instead of it being a fast-paced, it's a more of a choice-driven game. In fact, it is at its core a choice-driven. Check it out.
To set in. You bleed and you don't see it. Tear and you don't feel it. It takes your brain a good minute to notice you're flawed, and even longer to grasp that this time might be the last.
100 years have passed, and it is time to once more return to Eo.
Moving on to number 7, actually sitting on Steam since only hours ago with pretty positive reviews and a 20% discount for just no reason. We've got over here finally SpellForce Conquest of Eo. This is actually one of the longest games to have it in development for fans, newcomers alike, and a strategy turn-based RPG. If you're into games like Heroes, where you start off with literally zero and end up becoming the lord of the universe itself, getting tons of abilities and upgrades every single minute, this game's definitely a masterpiece in that particular area.
Their jealousy as your power increases. In time, you will have to deal with their desire to hold the All-Fire for themselves. Powerful heroes abound. Bind them to your cause. Summon your minions. Send them on adventures to discover new lands.
If you're a turn-based, specifically strategy fanatic, I'd have to assume you're probably familiar with the idea that Darkest Dungeon, the first game, came up with and amped up the genre itself by bringing a very nice little twist with a hell of a character-based gameplay and story-heavy component to the mix. Guys, Darkest Dungeon 2 over here, the sequel on its way to PCs and consoles, is everything the original had to offer, continuing the world rescue story and even more tactics. Here's how it looks in case you missed it.
Onward once again, though all the world's horrors bar the way.
Quick mention over here, I'm pretty sure if you're a heavy mobile gamer, you're already familiar with the fact that a Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, technically a turn-based, both generations of graphics in the original and the new Final Fantasy VII Remake, incorporated as an online game, as in the making since 3 years ago. Now the good news is, or the good words per se out there, is that Ever Crisis is coming to PCs as well simultaneously with the mobile port sometime later this year. And number 10, the single action RPG turn-based strategy adventure that they offer here, not a console game nor a PC exclusive but primarily a mobile game that's coming to PCs as well. Those of you who missed it, over here we have Etheria Restart, guys. Etheria over here is a story-focused game in nature about some future version of future where everything's just virtual, even the buildings. There's a sole trailer that came out with the reveal and the game itself releasing December this year. Been a while since I've wanted to talk about it over here. Wandering Sword here, I think maybe I mentioned it only once, coming to PCs now in about a few months, possibly September, as a Chinese martial arts RPG tactics turn-based. You could probably tell quite a bit in the same style of the first game, Chronicles. Now, I'm not really sure if this was a Kickstarter project as well, but frankly, it has every single quality the first game in the list has, if not even more. Check it out just in case you missed it, like I did. Now, Sea of Stars, on the other hand, probably the second biggest pixel art game in the making in terms of hype, is coming out in about a few months, tops, and coming to PCs and consoles at a later date. Here's a new trailer for those of you who missed it, some new in-game mechanics. The game itself, just a quick reminder, is a turn-based, story-heavy RPG and being soundtracked by the same guy who did the original Xenoblade games and more. And last but not least, as a PC exclusive, of course, we've got over here another 40k Warhammer game on the horizon called Warforge. Not just this, we actually got about 5 Warhammer games in the making, a couple of them actually turn-based, but Warforge over here, nonetheless, is a card-based, turn-based strategy. If you've never ever played a Warhammer game, these are technically more of an action-oriented, race-based strategy action games. Warforge over here is always said to be coming out either mid or late this year. Check it out.
What is it you most fear?
Good enemies is hard to find.